Let me ask you something real quick. What's the one habit in your life right now that would make you absolutely unstoppable if you committed to it every single day? Don't answer fast. Think about it, because most people don't fail from a lack of talent. They fail from a lack of daily discipline. They fail because they keep searching for shortcuts instead of building the one habit that would change everything for them. And I'm telling you right now, if you want to be unstoppable, if you want to walk into a room and feel that confidence, that certainty, that momentum, you've got to build a habit that becomes so strong it carries you even on the days you don't feel like showing up. I've met thousands of entrepreneurs, creators, hustlers, and dreamers. And there's one thing the successful ones all have in common: consistency. The habit of showing up, not when it's convenient, not when they're motivated, not when life feels easy every day. The people who win big in life don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems. They rely on discipline. They rely on doing the work, even when the excitement is worn off and nobody's clapping for them. Because they know that one habit, showing up with commitment, creates momentum. And momentum is what makes you hard to stop. You know why most people never hit their goals? Because they quit the moment it stops feeling comfortable. They quit when progress feels slow. They quit when it feels like nobody notices their effort. But here's the truth: nobody likes to talk about success. Doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It whispers, it builds, it grows quietly while you're putting in the work that nobody sees. And then one day it explodes into results that everyone sees. But that explosion only happens because of the habit you build behind the scenes. That habit could be waking up early, could be studying an hour a day. It could be training your body, tracking your progress, committing to a routine, planning your day the night before, whatever. It needs to be something that aligns with who you want to become, because your habits shape your identity. You can't say you want to be great while living like everyone else. You can't say you want more when your habits reflect less. If you want to be unstoppable, your daily actions have to line up with your future, not your past. Let me tell you something. Discipline is freedom. People think discipline restricts them, but discipline gives you control. It gives you power. It gives you the ability to direct your life instead of reacting to it. The moment you decide to build that one habit and protect it, no matter what, you step into a version of yourself that most people never meet, because most people never commit long enough to see who they could actually become. And don't get it twisted. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you never get tired or frustrated or doubtful. It means you don't stop. You keep going. You keep building. You keep moving forward even when progress is slow, because you trust the process more than the feeling. You trust the consistency more than the excitement. You trust the habit more than the hype. Look, the world is full of talented people who never made it, full of smart people who never tried, full of dreamers who never took that first step. But the world rewards the ones who commit, the ones who show up, the ones who build that habit that turns potential into power. So I'll ask you again, what's the one habit that would make you unstoppable if you committed to it today? And more importantly, are you willing to start building it right now, before the day ends, before the excuses show up, before you talk yourself out of greatness? Because the moment you commit to that one habit, everything in your life begins to shift. And you start becoming someone that nothing, not fear, not doubt, not obstacles, can stop. Consistency in daily action, not motivation, is the habit that makes you truly unstoppable. Most people think that success comes from inspiration, from waiting for the perfect moment, or from bursts of motivation that hit once in a while. That's a myth. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you'll feel it, some days you won't. And if you rely on it to carry you, you'll never get anywhere. The truth is, the people who achieve extraordinary things aren't the ones who wait for motivation. They're the ones who show up every single day, regardless of how they feel, and take consistent action toward their goals. That consistency is the engine that drives momentum, growth, and unstoppable progress. Think about your life for a second. How many times have you started a project, a habit, or a plan full of excitement, only to quit when the initial thrill wore off? That's the trap most people fall into. They rely on how they feel instead of committing to the process. But success doesn't work that way. It's not about energy spikes or dramatic breakthroughs. It's about steady, repeated actions day after day that compound over time into results most people think are impossible. That's why consistency is more powerful than talent, more powerful than luck, and more powerful than any motivation you might feel in a moment of inspiration. Consistency is not glamorous. It doesn't get likes. It doesn't get attention, and it doesn't come with immediate gratification, but it builds something far more valuable: reliability, trust, skill, and momentum. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, You reinforce a pattern in your brain that makes the next action easier. Your confidence grows, your competence increases, and the results start to stack up. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary, through relentless, disciplined repetition of small, meaningful actions. The habit of consistency also builds resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and obstacles that threaten to derail your plans. If you rely on bursts of motivation, one disappointment can knock you off course entirely. But if you've built the habit of showing up every day, you've trained yourself to keep moving forward even when conditions aren't perfect. You've created a foundation that supports you through difficulty, fatigue, and doubt. That's the difference between someone who gives up and someone who becomes unstoppable. Consistency turns potential into results. Talent without consistency is wasted potential. Dreams without daily action are just fantasies, and ideas without implementation are meaningless. But when you commit to taking consistent action, even small actions, every day you start creating a snowball effect. Each day's work builds on the last. Each step forward, no matter how tiny, adds to the momentum. Eventually, the results appear to be exponential, but they are really the product of patient, deliberate, consistent effort over time. That's why the most successful people don't rely on magic. They rely on habits. Another powerful aspect of consistency is that it shapes your identity. When you show up every day, you start seeing yourself differently. You begin to think like someone who gets things done. You begin to act like someone who follows through. You stop questioning whether you can achieve your goals and start living as if you are capable. The actions you take consistently don't just build results, they build the person who can create those results. That's why consistency is so transformative. It changes not only what you accomplish, but who you become in the process. So if you want to be unstoppable, stop waiting for motivation to show up. Stop hoping for inspiration to carry you. Decide that no matter how you feel, you will take action today and you will take it again tomorrow and the day after that without fail. Commit to consistency, protect it, and let it drive every aspect of your life. Because when you do, momentum becomes automatic, results become inevitable, and you step into a version of yourself that nothing, not fear, not doubt, not obstacles can stop. Your identity and success are shaped by the single habit you commit to every day, even when it's uncomfortable. Most people underestimate the power of habits because they focus on big, flashy moments of success instead of the small, consistent actions that create them. They believe that talent, luck, or opportunity alone will carry them to the level they want to reach. But the truth is, your habits define who you are more than anything else. The decisions you make daily, the routines you follow, and the actions you take consistently shape your skills, your mindset, and your results. If you want to be unstoppable, you need to identify the one habit that aligns with your goals and commit to it relentlessly. Think about your day-to-day life. How often do you act out of routine without thinking about whether it's serving your future self? How often do you allow distractions, comfort, or fear to guide your behavior? The problem is that most people underestimate the compound effect of habits. A small action repeated every day doesn't seem like much in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, it creates massive outcomes. That's why people who commit to a single transformative habit, whether it's exercising, reading, planning their day, or taking deliberate steps toward a goal, end up light years ahead of those who rely solely on bursts of inspiration or sporadic effort. The key is commitment. It's easy to start a habit when you feel motivated, but the real test comes when you don't feel like it, when life is hard, when excuses are tempting. The people who succeed are the ones who have trained themselves to show up regardless of circumstance. They understand that discomfort is temporary, but the results of consistent action are lasting. Every time you choose to practice your habit in the face of resistance, you strengthen not only the behavior, but also your character. You become someone who can endure, adapt, and thrive under pressure. That's what shapes identity, the ability to act according to your values and goals, even when it's uncomfortable. Your identity is your internal compass, and your habits are the engine that moves you forward. If your habits are aligned with the person you want to become, your daily actions reinforce your identity, and your results naturally follow. If your habits are misaligned, you end up living a life that feels out of control, chasing results without a foundation. That's why choosing the right habit is critical. It must be intentional, relevant to your goals, and something you can realistically commit to over the long term. One powerful, consistent habit compounds faster than multiple half-hearted ones. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing the right thing consistently. Consistency with your habit builds momentum. When you follow through daily, you begin to trust yourself. You develop confidence not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you know you have the discipline to act. That confidence spills into other areas of life. You start making better decisions, handling stress more effectively, and taking on challenges you once avoided. That's how a single habit can transform not just what you accomplish, but who you are becoming. The results are a reflection of the identity you're building silently, behind the scenes, day by day. The habit also teaches patience and resilience. Success doesn't come overnight. The habit you commit to may seem insignificant at first, but over time it shapes your capabilities, your mindset, and your outcomes. Every day you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of creating results through effort and focus. That belief fuels further action and helps you overcome obstacles. You stop waiting for perfect conditions or external validation, and you start relying on yourself and the process you've committed to. That's how ordinary effort transforms into extraordinary results. So identify the habit that aligns with your goals and commit to it fully. Protect it against distractions, excuses, and temporary discomfort. Show up every day, even when it's hard, even when nobody is watching. Because the moment you consistently live in alignment with that habit, your identity begins to shift, your confidence grows, and your results follow naturally. The person you become in the process will be unstoppable, and the life you've been dreaming of will no longer be a dream. It will be the reality you built through one small, powerful habit repeated every single day. That is the secret to mastering yourself and achieving lasting success.